Welcome to episode 3 from my Forever World, and in this episode we're going to be working on a huge auto-sorted storage warehouse. However, all of the footage in this episode was taken from a live stream that had no commentary on it, so I'm afraid you're stuck with me doing voiceovers in the edit. So let's get straight into it, shall we? Here's a clip of me placing deep slate bricks. I'm going to be doing that a lot. This is the floor for the auto-sorting storage warehouse. Here I'm using dirt to plan out the structure for where the chests are going to be going, but I'm going to fill this in with the design later. You can see a little bit of the design as it's coming together. I knew that I wanted each bay of chests to be 6 wide, and these were the pillars that would separate them. You may remember this island that had the pig on it. Well, the island's got to go. Enough of the base had been updated that it was worth popping this map off and seeing it all spring into its pixeled form in the map, and there it is. You can see the design that I've been working on, and I'm going to update this map as well so you can see the right hand side of it. Boom, there you go, there it is. So this is an aerial view of my Forever World at episode 3. But there's more block placing to do because we've still got to build out the floor. After all of that block placing, I was tired, so I had a little rest. Here I am resting. Now that most of the deep slate brick was in place, it was time to put the white concrete in there, which is very convenient when you're placing it near water because it automatically turns from the powder to the concrete. And there was so much more that needed to be filled in, and I did this for a good few hours. And once the floor was done, I knew that I needed to get the chest in. So I hopped down, grabbed my chest, and just started placing. We needed entrances and exits to the warehouse, and this was one of the designs that I came up with. Obviously it won't be in grass blocks, we're going to replace those, but I just wanted to get the rough shape in place, and I knew that we needed 2 for this particular hallway, so I started working on the second. And here it is, 2 dirt archway things. I bet you're glad you're watching this video, aren't you? And I realised that I hadn't quite finished the floor, so it's white concrete time again. And this, I believe, is the last piece of white concrete that needed to be placed, and now I'm just going to go around and light things up. I'm nowhere near ready to be putting the redstone in, but it doesn't hurt to plan it out a little bit. And then it was time to start experimenting with some walls, and I stuck with a similar theme. I was doing a little bit of work on a kind of adjacent area, and I noticed this guy with a trident, and I thought, yes, that's what I need in my life, a trident. That'd be great for the mob killer. So I attacked him, but unfortunately he did not drop a trident. The point of this pool is if you fall into the ocean, you've got somewhere to pop back up again, but it needs some walls, so it's time to start placing some deep slate bricks. After all of my hard work, I thought I'd take a moment and just admire what I'd built so far. Even the skeleton of this storage warehouse was starting to look pretty damn good, and I had an idea of what I wanted to use as a block palette that would work well, but I was going to tinker with that a little bit later. Over here you can see the tower that will be built all the way up to the mob farm, which is 130 blocks up, and we've even got an automated bamboo farm going on, though this may come down later. And as I turn to the left here, you'll see my wall of trees that I planted with saplings, as well as my original farm and the cows, the chickens and the sheep. And it occurred to me that perhaps the cows were a little bit too penned in there, and I had a bit of space over here on the left that I could potentially move them to. In fact, a few ideas came to me, so I started to note them down. First off, sheep farm, next up design the storage units, and then lastly I needed to grab some item frames because that was going to be important for knowing what items were where. Then I harvested some wheat, replanted all the seeds, and then used that wheat to breed up some cows. Item frames are made from leather, which I've just bred the cows, and sticks, and so here I am grabbing myself some wood for the sticks. And then, I'll be completely honest, I got very distracted doing some terraforming. In fact, I did a lot of terraforming. Of course, I was tired after all that terraforming, so I took a little break. And after my break, it was time to start working on the area that the cows were going to be moved to. So here I am putting down some grass blocks. I put down some bricks around the outside, whacked a fence in, made sure that it had a fence gate. I added another entrance over here, and then it was time to start getting the cows over. So I put some dirt blocks in so that I could jump my way up, and then started placing some fences so that we could usher the cows into the new cow area. As I break down the fences here, they started to move, but I knew that I was going to need to move them a little bit quicker, so I grabbed myself some wheat and made myself a cow waterfall, which I thought was pretty damn cool. So I finished off the wall on one one of the sides, started breeding the cows so that I could begin to get their numbers up, and then I stood back and admired the wonderful area that I've created for all of these cows. They're all called Daisy. Turns out we had this one cow out to the side, so I whispered in its ear, make sure you tell all the other cows to subscribe, and then I nudged this cow into the hole with all the other cows to pass on the message. And that was it. That's an hour and a half stream condensed into just over 5 minutes. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, leave a like. If you really loved it, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!